He is part of the Cardinal class coming out of Stanford this year, and he may not even be the first name we hear mentioned in 8 days from now in Philadelphia. Joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show is somebody who'll be joining me for a 6th time as part of NFL Network's draft coverage. Head coach from Stanford, David Shaw. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing really well, Rich. I can't wait for it to get started.
I can't believe six drafts. This is for you with the paparazzi.
Wild, and somehow you guys keep asking me to come back, but I love every minute of it. I really do.
Well, it's a ton of fun, obviously, to be there on a night where so many fans are enjoying what they are hoping is the rebirth of their team, and then seeing players that we've watched from one level come to another. And I just mentioned about Christian McCaffrey. What would an NFL team be getting in him based on what you've seen from him?
Well, this is an easy question for me to answer, and I try to do it objectively, but when I watch it objectively, I spent 9 years in the NFL. I know how to get ready for the draft, and I sit back and I watched it objectively. You're getting a starting running back, a potential starting receiver, both outside and inside, a starting punt returner, and a starting kickoff returner. You're getting a guy that can affect the game in 4 different ways. So you're not just getting a guy that's going to be, we'll see how he fits in. Like day one, he's all over the place. Not to mention he's close to a football savant. It just makes sense to him. So the guy can come in and memorize the game plan that week and play and affect the game 4 different ways.
Now at the combine, Coach, watching him go through his drills, we were having a conversation during the broadcast. Mike Mayock and Marshall Falk and I were having this conversation because he was getting asked in the interview rooms all the time about not playing in his bowl game and what that meant about a window into his desire to win or play football games or be there for his teammates. What was that decision like for you at the ground level while it was happening?
It was difficult. There's no question about it. It was difficult. He's your senior. He was a junior, excuse me, but a team captain and the face of the franchise, if you, as you will. But the thing that I understand, that everybody understands, is this was hard on not just us. It was hard on him. This is a difficult thing for Christian to do, and he had to balance his future versus one football game. Now, what I've said to him and to the team, which is, people are worried about this being potentially a thing that's going to cascade and year after year. You're talking about one of the best football players in the history of college football. This will not affect his draft stock. Whereas a guy that maybe didn't have the kind of years that Christian had tries to do this, and he could see that it could. I mean, and last year in 2015, Christian had the best year in the history of college football, passing Barry Sanders and all that he did. I mean, this kid is a phenomenal talent, and when it comes down to it, that's what the NFL is about.
No, I know. And look, you're talking to somebody where when I heard that, I thought, okay. Obviously, it would be tough for somebody like yourself to try and replace him and win a bowl game and try and play a bowl game that obviously means a lot to those in the locker room that are playing it. I did not have a problem with it in terms of thinking that this kid was a bad seed going into the NFL. That said, why would NFL teams be kicking the tires on him like that, David?
I think you always have to ask. NFL guys are used to it. There are things that look one way on the outside, and then when you do some digging, you find something else. So you have to do the digging, right? We're talking about billion-dollar franchises that want to invest a lot into a draft pick, into an athlete, and they want to make sure. Was this something that the coach did? Is this masked by saying that he doesn't want to play when it's actually some kind of a punishment? All those things. Was he really injured and just didn't want to say that he was injured? So they have to kick the tires. But this was a difficult decision on Christian and his family, one that we all understood. And when it's all said and done, this kid is an outstanding football player and a phenomenal human being.
Yet the one who's just skyrocketing up draft boards perhaps faster than Christian McCaffrey is Solomon Thomas. We're hearing in many ways that he could be second overall. Coach, does that how did he come into the fore for you, watching him grow from when you got him into Stanford to now where you're sending him into the NFL?
Well, when we recruited him, we knew he was an outstanding athlete. And his freshman year, I'll never forget the look on our guys in the weight room's faces when they came out, and here's this 265-pound defensive lineman that jumps up and touches 11 feet. We just hadn't seen anything like that. This kid is explosive. He is physical. He is nasty. And when you look at the way the NFL is right now, where you're playing a lot of nickel because there's a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, this guy's the best interior pass rusher in the draft. He is explosive. He is great with his hands. He is great against the run, getting off blocks, anticipating and reacting to blocking schemes as well as anybody I've ever seen. So now you're looking at a guy that right off the bat, before he learns anything, he can line up as a 3 technique or 2, whatever, on a guard and play for you right now and affect the quarterback, because quarterbacks like to be able to step up. With a guy like this, it becomes difficult.
How many teams reach out to you for these guys? How many do you hear from?
Just about all of them.
Just about all of them. Even though not all of them can get a shot at him, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, there was a hope. There was a hope for a lot of guys later in the draft that Christian may be able to fall, and I just said wait until the combine, because he's one of those guys now, and you experience this. It's one thing to watch him on film, which is outstanding, but then when you see him live and you see how explosive and quick yet controlled that he is, this gets special.
David Shaw of Stanford joining me here 8 days before he will join me on the set for the first night of the draft on NFL Network with Daniel Jeremiah and Mike Mayock. You got a front row seat to see Mitch Trubisky, or sorry, back when he was Mitch Trubisky, now Mitchell Trubisky, the quarterback from North Carolina. You were studying him for the Sun Bowl. You played against him in the Sun Bowl. Put the paparazzi hat on. Keep it on. The NFL Network hat on. Coach, is Trubisky the best quarterback available in this year's draft, do you think?
Ooh, this one's a tough one for me. I think for everybody. I would say for me he's a hair behind Deshaun Watson. But the thing for me is they're both really good, and I would throw the Kaiser in there. All 3 of these guys are really good. It's kind of what flavor of ice cream do you like? Mitchell Trubisky, he is accurate. He's got a quick release, a good repeatable motion. He's more athletic than he gets credit for. This guy gets out of trouble. He can scramble and hurt you. He's got enough arm strength to make all the throws. Inexperience, yes, that makes you a little bit nervous. You'd love to have him and have him behind somebody for a year or 2 and really learn the game, because it's hard to learn the game while you're playing the game. And for me, skill set wise, is a lot like Alex Smith, where for years Alex Smith got the term game manager, and people didn't realize this guy's winning football games. High completion percentage, very smart and accurate, and more athletic than he gets credit for. So I think that's what this guy's going to be. This guy's going to be a guy that can win you football games.
And Deshaun Watson, why isn't he just a snap top 5 guy, Coach? Why are we not talking about him based on what he's done at the collegiate level against the best competition that many people think the collegiate level can offer? Why are we not snapping him as a top 5 guy and just forgetting about it and ripping the knob off here?
Well, it's just history for me, the history of guys that are coming out of quote-unquote spread offenses. But what I try to look at is I try to look at him and not just the offense. What are they asking him to do in the offense, and what does he do, particularly in the pocket? This guy can hurt you from the pocket. You can see him go through his reads and be calm in the pocket and throw the ball with guys in his face and with a lot of dirt around him. He doesn't feel it, So this guy's got a big arm, and as everybody's been saying, on the biggest stage, this guy plays the best. Now, there were games during the course of the year where he didn't play great, and that they didn't play great as a team. But what you love to see is in that fourth quarter, somewhere he kicks it in, and you see his intensity, you see his drive, and you see him will his football team to victories. This guy, he's potentially really special. Now, is he ready day one? I mean, who knows? Who knows what you ask him to do? If you got a guy in front of him, yeah, that's all great. But for me, though, he may not play great during the course of the game. But in that fourth quarter, unlike a lot of spread quarterbacks that have to get outside the pocket, this guy can hurt you from the pocket. He's got a cannon. He's got a quick release, and he's got that quarterback spirit that he wants to drive down there and hurt you.
A couple more minutes with David Shaw of Stanford here on the Rich Eisen Show. Give me the X Factor guys that you think we'll be hearing on a Thursday night that you think will, at the next level, prove to be multiple down threats in the NFL that you've seen.
The two guys for me are Jabril Peppers and Adoree Jackson. Both guys are really good defenders. Jabril probably more ready to play a defensive position than Adoree. Adoree may take a little bit of time, maybe play nickel in certain situations. But both of these guys, they're returners day one, and they can affect the outcome of the game with the ball in their hands. And if I was a head coach and I had a chance to grab one of these guys, yes, they're going to learn how to play on defense, but I'm going to give them both about 5 touches a game on offense. These guys are threats with the ball in their hands. So you draft one of these guys, you're going to get a great defender, but at the same time, you're going to get a day one return man and a guy that can help you in certain situations on offense that can make people miss and score touchdowns.
Yeah, Dion calls that a 5-down player, David.
There you go. 3
on defense, 1 on special teams, and then 1 on offense. 5 downs in a row.
He would know. He's one of the best ever.
He was that guy. Before I let you go, news this week that the NCAA is going to be allowing a 10th coach added to the to staffs across the college football landscape. Do you already have one targeted already for Stanford?
Well, I was going to contact the NFL Network and check on your contract status.
Me?
Who else would I have come coach my punters? I mean, is there a better guy in the nation than Rich Eisen?
No, you know what? You're right, because I'm a people person and I'm a punter person, and that would be it. That would be definitely it for. But I thought you were going to say that you were going to go for Mariucci, and you can't touch Mooch, David. Please leave him.
He's out of my league, way out of my league.
But what does that 10th coach mean, do you think, for teams across the country?
Oh, gosh. We have 100 guys on the team, and we've been going with 9 full-time guys and a bunch of assistants, and it's just about a little bit more equity as far as the coach-to-player relationship and the number of full-time guys you can recruit and coach the guys on the field, and that's really what it's about.
All right. I'm available also to teach people what a catch is, too, because that seems to be a problem at both levels.
At both levels, absolutely.
Hey, Coach, look forward to seeing you in Philadelphia and hanging with you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rich.
You bet. That's David Shaw of Stanford.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.